Hello again, everybody. This is Mr. Everything. I'm coming at you with another Wargaming and miniature video. In this video, we're going to talk about our Quatre update. Today is the 12th. It's a week later since the last video. In the last video, I had a couple of British units on popsicle sticks. I finished them. I finished a couple more units and made a little bit more progress towards the Quatre project. Now I just want to go over that with you. Okay, these are the 4 units that I had on popsicle sticks, right, which I do believe was the 2 British units, the 44th and the 1st Royal Scots, and I had 2 Highlander units, which are right there. But in addition to that, I was able to complete my Dutch militia from Byland's brigade. And in addition to that, I took all of my allied generals and I mounted them on the bases that we're going to be using. We're going to be using individual brigade commanders singly mounted on a 2-inch washer, and then division generals are going to be mounted 2 per base 3-inch circle, and then the Wellington and Ney are both going to be mounted on a 3.5-inch with 3 figures. So these guys are just currently based on their play bases and their puttied and grit and primed, and that's it. So I just wanted to kind of show you the difference in size on the bases to kind of give you an idea of how that will look on the table. And we'll go through and we'll do a money shot on all of these painted figures here in just a little bit. But I do want to let you know that I have something special at the end of the video about NashCon's schedule. We'll be able to go over that schedule in detail just to kind of look at all the other different games that are being played, just as a treat. Okay, so now in the meantime, while I've been doing the painting and then getting these guys ready to go, I also went out. I always look through the shelves just to see if there's anything that I could possibly use, and I picked up a few more of these popsicle sticks. And now these are not the giant jumbo ones. These are a lot smaller and thinner. These I'm planning on using for like fence lines. I already have a ton of short pieces of wood that I used on previous projects, like my World War II buildings and things like that, for bolt action. So I've got a ton of these little pieces of wood that I was going to use as tent posts, but I didn't have anything longer than that. But I wanted to make a rail, like a rail fence that would go across this. So I picked up just a couple, dollars worth of balsa wood, super cheap, to run along the top, right? Because I also saw something else. I saw these craft sticks. What do they call them? Popsicle stick family. No, I don't know. What do they call this thing? Craft picks. Okay, so they kind of look like toothpicks, but they're not. They're super thin, and they're kind of wide. They're a good 3 or 4 millimeters wide. Does it say? Okay, 0.18 inches, which winds up being 0.45 centimeters. Okay, but either way, I'm going to cut these down to about an inch, maybe a lot less, maybe just a little bit over their belt line, because what I'm going to make is a picket fence. I'm going to make, I'm going to put some posts up. I'm going to put a rail at the top, and then I'm going to take a bunch of these and put them on the ground and lean them up against the rail all the way across and make a picket fence. I'm going to make some picket fences. I thought I was going to do that. Okay. I also bought some, looks like I bought 5 of these dowel rods. These are 36-inch dowel rods. I prefer to have range rulers like this, with the ranges designated on the stick, so that a player can don't need to have an inch ruler with them. if they can only move 12 inches, if everything moves 12 inches, or if their units all move 12 inches, just give them a 12-inch stick. And so they can go, okay, I can go 12 inches. And maybe mark the 6-inch mark, because there are certain things in the table, like hedges and fences and picket fences, that will take 6 inches off their movement. So they could just go, you know, do. And if they get multiple moves, they just go doop, boop, doop, doop, you know, no problem. And then they get a 1-inch. So I can make 3 1-inch rulers with this. I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to make 2 18-inch rulers out of this, because I think the smoothbore muskets fire 18 inches. So if you could, and then I'll mark 6 inches on there. So you'll have 12 inches, 6 inches, and the full 18 inches, right? So you could go, okay, I'm shooting 18 inches, or I can only move 6 inches because of the hedge, or I can move it full 12 inches because of, you know, clear ground. So I'm going to make, I got 5 of these. I could make a total of, this is what I was thinking, I could make a total of 10 player rulers, right? Player rulers. But I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to make 8 player rulers, or maybe even just 6 player rulers. That way there's 6 on a side, so players can share them, or they can, well, when it's your turn to move, you don't, when it's not your turn to move, you don't need this. You can hand it over to your opponent and say, okay, it's your turn, you know. So, or, yeah, so by having 6 of them, there's going to be more than enough for each side to have enough of those to move and shoot. And then if you need to shoot back, you know, no problem. So I was thinking about making 2 36-inch, just use the full thing for artillery pieces, because they can shoot a long ways, right? I don't know. I don't know how I'm going to do that, because 2 of these is 6 feet. Not that anybody's going to be shooting 6 feet, but it's possible, right? And you don't need those little 12-inch rulers. You won't need a tape measure. Nothing clogging up the table or whatever. These will all be off to the side of the table, out of everybody's way, right? Okay, so range rulers. I'm going to paint them, and I'm going to mark them at the ranges that I want. I think it's going to be 6, 12, and 18 inches. Primarily, artillery pieces might still use a tape measure. We'll see. Okay, so we got the fences, we got the thingamajiggers. Okay, last thing I want to show you before we go into the money shots and before we go into the special thing that I want to talk about on NashCon. I bought some clamps. I don't have any clamps. I have zero. I have some. I have like 2 little miniature screw-on clamps, right? But nothing substantial. So I thought about this because of our play mat that we put on, and this is the one really, because we put a play mat, we lay it out, and then we pull it tight, right? We pull the sucker tight over the table. That's what I want to do, right? Because I want it to not move around. I don't want it to shift. And so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a clamp, right? And this is pretty tough. And I'm going to clamp it. Come down here and I'm going to, there. And it's going to be pretty, it's going to be on there, right? This isn't working too well because this is a ping pong table and it's got this lip right here. Could I clamp it right there? Maybe I could clamp it right there. I don't think that's going to work. But, so, I could tighten this up, clamp it down, and it's not going to move. And I'm going to do this like with the large ones. I'm going to do those all on the 4 corners, right? I'm going to clamp down the table. But I'm also going to take some little ones, maybe little baby ones like this. Maybe not these little ones. Actually, maybe these little ones. And then I'm going to just clamp them right on the end in various places so that it just holds the entire map down properly. Stretch it out the way it's supposed to be, clamp it, you know, because I don't want it to move around. And I just want to get rid of the wrinkles, you know, so it's going to help any of the wrinkles. What I'm also going to do is a couple of nights before the game, I'm going to clamp it on the table. I'm going to stretch it out. I'm going to try to get the wrinkles, smooth the wrinkles out, and then that way, before the night of the convention, I'm just going to roll it up on one long roll and not fold it in half and roll it, because that's what I've been doing. I've been folding it and then rolling it, and that puts a crease down the center. So a couple of nights before the convention, I'm going to do that. All right, well, let's do the money shot. All right, this is the first Royal Scots. Alright, and this is the 92nd Highlanders. You'll notice that the kilts are just one solid color of green. If I get enough figures painted before the convention, then I'll go back and actually do the kilts. But right now I'm just going to leave the kilts the way they are. And then this is the 79th Highlanders with their green plumes and green facings. And then we have the 44th Regiment right there in the yellow facings. Alright, let me show you the militia. Okay, this is the 8th Militia. And then these are the 5th Militia, which was a very small detachment. I'm just going to have 2 stands. And then the 7th Militia, which is also a fairly sizable, same as the British units. Remember, those are Dutch units. Alright, now let me show you NashCon. Alright guys, now I wanted to show you, this is the NashCon website. You go to nashcon.org and that brings you to this website right here. Where you got your home, about us, call to arms. Call to arms are basically asking for people to volunteer to monitor the front door, stuff like that, because it is a non-profit organization. They have registration information, accommodations at the hotel, the Marriott, and vendors, tournament info. I don't know what this shop stuff is, but right here under events list, this is really what I want to show you. There is some tournaments, if you're interested in some of these tournaments, Age of Sigmar, Bolt Action, Flames of War, Infinity, Warhammer 40K, and War Machine tournaments. So you can sign up for some of those if you'd like. But here's the events list. It takes you to the NashCon events list. This is a PDF. You can print it if you want, or you can just, because I'm sure it's going to be updated from time to time. But here's Friday. The very first session on Friday starts at 2 p.m., so make sure you get there a little early. And then they have their tables numbered. I'm sure that in their convention booklet that they pass out every year, there's going to be, the center pages are usually a map to the tables and where each table is, where the dealer's room is, where registration is, where the where everything is, where the tournaments are being held and stuff like that. So the tables are numbered, and you'll see table 2 has the Dakota Death Match, right? And you can read this on your own time. Slow down, pause the video, however you want to do it. to go through and kind of take a look at that. But it looks like they're playing Gunfighter's Ball, okay, in 32 millimeter. That's unusual. Okay, so coming down, we got Gangs of Rome, Play in the Arena. Right, the name of the game is called Gangs of Rome, published by Warbanner. That's 8 brave and resourceful players. This is, they got room for, stop this, stop that. Okay, they've got room for 6 players right there. And then what's this? Table 6. That's the table that we're going to be playing on, but we're not playing on Friday, 2 p.m. So the Battle of Nicaea, right? They're using the Triumph rules. It looks like 1097 AD, Second Wave of First Crusade. Using Triumph, 6 players. Table 10, Introduction to Napoleonics, using Etsan's Resultant. Never played it. Sounds like it might be fun. Might have to jump in on that game. You know, we'll see. 4 players using 2nd edition and 10 millimeter figures. So that sounds like really small figures. Looks like there's a download right there for something. Battle of Cape Finisterre, that's table 11. Remember, this is all still 2 to 6 p.m. All these games are available to play. Battle of Cape Finisterre, whatever. It's a fleet game, it looks like. Fire as She Bears, 2nd edition. It's Navy. Looks like Franco-Spanish fleet, so I'm thinking Wooden Ships and Iron Men kind of thing. Yeah, what, 1000 scale? Okay, 1 to 00 scale. That's not right. It's I'm sure it's 1 to 1000 scale. Up to 10 would-be captains. There we go. Target for tonight. You notice how there's table 16. There's a bunch of tables in between. So like whatever happened to 12 to 15? Well, those tables are still waiting to be filled. I mean, if you're interested in running a game, you should send something to them and let them know. Target for tonight. It's Air Warfare. They're using a game from Donald Featherstone. Wow, he wrote games a long time ago. Might be fun. Okay, because I have a Donald Featherstone book about fighting airborne battles. Okay, session 2, still Friday. It's the evening, 8 to 12 midnight. Table 2, Operation Charnwood, Rommel basic game demo. I believe it's the writer, Sam Mustafa. He's the guy that actually wrote the rules. So it'd be a good chance to get a chance to meet a game designer and play his game and see if you like it. Then you got Deep Wars demo. Don't know what that is, but it's an alternate history in the 17th century. Scientists have discovered an underground sea miles beneath the frozen surface of the... Sounds weird. Deep Wars. Okay, cool. Well, who knows? Then you got Rumble Slam demo. Okay, Werewolves and Dwarves. Okay, Wings of Glory. Now I've played that. That's the card game. That's it's not really a card game. It's like Blue Max with no hexes. You know, you move your what are they playing World War I? I think so. Yeah, you pick your maneuvers out of a deck of cards, you lay them down in order, you flip them, you move, you range, you pull chits for damage. It's pretty quick, not very much die rolling, which is kind of cool. Swampfoot and Dried Corn. Brother versus Brother. That sounds like it's a Civil War game. Ambush at Missisquoi Bay. Rogers. No, it's French and Indian War games? Oh, a modified Brother versus Brother. Okay. 40 millimeter figures. Dang, these guys are playing some big figures. Okay. Villa Ride. Sounds Mexican. Mexican Revolution. Octung Gringo. What? I have to look into that one a little bit. 6 players. Pod racing. Okay, you thought there wasn't going to be any sci-fi? Well, there's Star Wars right there. Pod racing. Oki Veerbeck. Scan the gauges and located. Yeah. Pod circuit. 6 players. Table 16. The Battle of Edge Hill. This is 20mm figures. Kings of English Civil War rules. Modified version of the Kings of War. Okay, so Kings of War, I've been kind of interested in learning how to play Kings of War, or maybe checking it out, just as an alternative to a fantasy battles style game, because I would like to put some undead out, or maybe some barbarians or some dragons or something like that, without having to resort to Warhammer. I thought about using the black powder rules and modifying them for, not black powder, Hail Caesar. I thought about modifying them for my mass combat in D&D, but we'll see. Okay, Operation 10 Go, a battleship, Yamato. Okay, who's running that? A lot of aircraft. I don't know. I don't think I'm going to play that one. Okay, session 3 is Saturday morning. I think that's our session. But other tables that are playing during our session are Operation Charnwood, Rommel Advanced Game Demo. So it's Rommel still. The game system is still Rommel, still with Mustafa. But instead of it being just a basic game, he's going to get into some advanced rules, it looks like. Okay, Table 3, Deep Wars Demo. That's another same thing, Deep Wars. Rumble Slam Demo, same thing. They're basically playing one game on Friday, one game on Saturday. Well, maybe more than one game on Saturday. Toy Soldiers. It's a fast-paced modern war game. Toy Soldiers 54mm. Table 5, 1754 Conquest, French and Indian War. That sounds fun. Birth of America game trilogy. Not familiar with that one. And then there it is. Table 6. Quatre. That's us. Right? That's using black powder from Warlord Games. It's going to be myself and Mike Greenhill, and we're going to be playing the Quatre at the Crossroads. Quatre. It's right there. Yay, Table 6. Okay. Then you got the Long March to Fort Edward. Looks like Last of the Mohicans. Isn't that more French and Indian War? That sounds like it's going to be a very popular era. Introduction to Napoleonics using the resultant rules. Looks like he's going to run a second game. Chickamauga. That's Civil War? Civil Army of Tennessee. Yeah, Fire and Fury rules. Fire and Fury is a good set of rules. I actually enjoy... I used to own Fire and Fury. I thought it was a pretty good set of rules. And then Table 14, Battle of Henry Hill. First Bull Run. And then Table 15, Fair Maiden. Fair Maiden. What is this? Won't be able to play it because I'm running my own game. 5 28mm figures as they try to compete for the assigned task of win the day. What? Nobleman's wife captured. Nefarious French. Sounds cool. I don't know what it is, but okay. Battle of... I'm not really reading every single word because it's Sharp and his men to bring... Oh, that's Napoleonics. That's the 95th Rifles. Okay, Battle of Edge Hill. Kings of English Civil War using the Kings of War system. Okay, we've seen that. Battle of San Portobello. Okay, sounds like... See, now there's 1 to 1,000 scale. Okay, now the second session is... As you notice, there's a gap in time. You have... our first session ends at 1 p.m. and then the next session starts at 2 p.m. So there's a 1 hour break for lunch, basically. There's going to be a Command and Colors. Command and Colors Napoleonics. That's a different type of... it's a different game system, but it's also Napoleonic. Gangs of Rome again. Arms Race. Contact Front. U.S. and Russian Special Ops Team. Okay, sounds good. Place of the King. Force on Force rules by Osprey. Okay, I haven't seen that. 101st. Afghanistan. Interesting. I might have to look into those rules. Okay, and then there's our second session. Quatre, exactly, just a reprint, just a copy paste. Okay. Introduction using resultant. Chickamauga, chapter 2. So if you played the first part, you'll probably want to play the second part. Don't have to. Conan, the Battle of Hyboria, using Triumph. That sounds pretty interesting. Race to the Mytia. Suez Canal, Iron in the Desert rules. 15mm. Okay. Suez Canal. King George commands, we obey. Okay. That sounds like a song. Over the hills and yeah, whatever. Yeah, it's right there. Over the hills rules. That was a song that Sharp. It was like Sharp's theme song, wasn't it? 20 figures over the hills. It's Napoleonic in Spain, right? Okay, and then you got session 5, which is you'll notice our session ends at 6 p.m. And the next session starts at 8, so there's a 2-hour gap between that session. That's for dinner. Does that mean our second game can go on a little bit longer? Yeah, we could if the players want to play till about 7, because we're going to have to clean up and get our table completely cleaned up so that the next group of people can come in and get their table set up. So it'd be impolite to kind of just continue on. Really big. So this is a session that Mike and I will have an opportunity to actually play in, and we got Monopoly. Don't plan to play that. Gangs of Rome. Last of the Mohicans. Lucky to be a Lady. I don't know anything about that. Alpha Strike. Vanguard rules. AFEs. Okay, interesting. Sword Beach to Pegasus Bridge. Now I'm really super interested in Bolt Action. That's a game I really like. It's also a Warlord Games, and with it being tables 16 and 17, you can expect it to be a fairly large battle. So I mean, there's probably a river between the tables, and there's probably a bridge going on it, like Pegasus Bridge, and it'll be a very it's probably going to be a really exciting game. How many? Up to 12 players. I think Mike and I will be able to get into that. We're going to have to try to pre-register for that ASAP. And then now they're talking about Johnny Con. I don't know what this is. Thursday night there's a Johnny Reb meeting engagement. I don't know what that is. All games in the Arabian room. And then Friday morning is a Johnny Reb meeting engagement as well. So I don't know what that is really. Friday afternoon, Johnny Reb. Friday night, Johnny Reb. Saturday morning, St. Petersburg Surprise. It's also Johnny Reb. Bryce Crossroads. Fight in Indian Country. Those are all probably private games. I don't know, but those are just like half of the games, because you can see that there's a lot of tables missing. So like there's 9 and there's a gap from 9 to 14. I mean, where's 10 through 13? So over the next 3 months, people are probably or 2 months, people are probably going to be signing up to do more games. Alright guys, well, let's close that out, or back it up. How do we get out of there? There we go. There's the NashCon website. I don't think they show tournaments. Tournament schedule. Well, there you go. You got some tournaments right there. If you're into Bolt Action, it's not a link for me to click. I wish it was. Got pretty good artwork in the background. NashCon, hashtag NashCon Gaming. Tournament schedule. Oh, I can click that. Hold on. Here it is. Bolt Action Singles Tournament. Saturday. Registration opens at 8:30. Round 1 begins at 9. So you got to be there ready for that. 1,000-point lists. All theater lists valid with 16 order cap dice. That's extremely high. They need the. I've done a video on order dice capping, and 16 is not a cap. If you need to cap it at something reasonable, like 12, because 16 is telling a player that he has to buy 2 boxes of dice. Okay. Second edition rules. No turret jam. Okay. Painted armies, minimum 3 colors. That's pretty cool because I used to have when I ran my tournaments back in the day, I used to have a 4 color minimum. So 3 colors is kind of, you know, flesh, pant color, jacket color, done. People are going to have like figures that aren't even close to being painted. Any questions? Contact Kalisa Skibiki. Lisa at Yahoo. Okay. And guess what? That's the only page on the tournament schedule. That's because the other tournament organizers probably haven't really, all these other tournament organizers probably aren't very organized. I don't know. I'm just saying. Okay. I'm just what the heck was that? Okay. Tournament info. What is that? Oh, that's why I stopped playing Warhammer. I mean, it's cool and all, but that's just funny. All right, so let's get back to home. And all right, well, thanks for coming out and checking out this video. And let me get back to doing some more painting. See you next time.